String of alleged migrants attacks in New York has sparked an election year outrage in the U.S. and
and obviously not everything about this process is crystal clear right now. One of the big
a toll on our local resources, specifically our police force and our fire department.
We are here today because the President of the United States is failing to fulfill his duty to defend our country.
There has been ongoing tension, if not outright combat, between state and city officials across the country.
By U.S. Marshals after a nearly day-long manhunt following the Times Square shooting.
Migrant crisis grips NYC. The bustling streets of New York City, typically known for their vibrant energy and eclectic mix of cultures, are currently grappling with a significant challenge: a migrant crisis. As the Biden administration and local officials clash over immigration policies, the city finds itself at the epicenter of a complex and contentious debate. At the heart of this crisis lies a series of events that have sparked outrage and raised serious concerns about public safety. A violent attack on two NYPD officers in Times Square, allegedly perpetrated by migrants residing in nearby shelters, has sent shockwaves throughout the city. The release of suspects without bail has further fueled tensions, with law enforcement officials warning of potential dangers posed by individuals willing to attack uniformed officers. The situation is exacerbated by a troubling trend of criminal activities linked to residents of migrant shelters. Arrest records reveal a staggering number of over 1,200 arrests in the past year alone.
String of alleged migrants attacks in New York has sparked an election year outrage in the U.S. and
Biden's for a free and open border. Just tear down everything. Let everybody come. No restrictions.
By U.S. Marshals after a nearly day-long manhunt following the Times Square shooting.
And really rolled out the red carpet for illegal immigration here when they said,
and obviously not everything about this process is crystal clear right now. One of the big
ranging from petty theft to assault and endangerment of children. Such incidents have underscored the challenges faced by authorities in maintaining law and order while upholding sanctuary policies that limit cooperation with federal immigration agencies. As the city grapples with rising crime rates and strained resources, controversial policies have emerged in response to the migrant influx. Eviction notices issued to migrant families after just 60 days in shelters have drawn sharp criticism from advocates and city officials alike. The decision to repurpose schools to house migrants, disrupting education for local students, has sparked outrage among parents and community members. Amidst these challenges, the financial burden on New York City has become increasingly apparent. Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal for additional funding to address the migrant crisis highlights the significant strain on state and city budgets, with estimates suggesting costs could reach billions of dollars. The urgency of finding sustainable solutions has never been greater. Yet, beyond the headlines and political debates, the migrant crisis is also a human story. It's about individuals seeking refuge and opportunity in the land of the free, only to encounter a system stretched to its limits. It's about families displaced by violence and hardship, grappling with uncertainty and insecurity in a foreign land. In the midst of this crisis, it's essential to remember our shared humanity and the values that define us as a society. While concerns about public safety and fiscal responsibility are valid, so too is compassion and empathy for those in need. As we navigate these turbulent times, let us strive to find common ground and solutions that uphold both our principles and our responsibilities as a diverse and inclusive city. The migrant crisis gripping New York City is a complex and multifaceted issue that defies easy solutions. It's a challenge that demands thoughtful dialogue, collaboration, and a renewed commitment to the values that make our city great. Only by coming together can we navigate this crisis with compassion, integrity, and resilience. Deportation challenges and concerns. The deportation challenges and concerns surrounding the migrant crisis in New York City shed light on the complexities and controversies of immigration enforcement. While the Biden administration grapples with balancing compassion and security, local officials face mounting pressure to address public safety concerns amidst rising crime rates. At the heart of the issue is the clash between federal immigration policies and local sanctuary measures. New York City's sanctuary policy, which limits cooperation between law enforcement agencies and Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE), poses significant challenges to deportation efforts. Without the ability to collaborate effectively, authorities struggle to remove individuals with criminal backgrounds or immigration violations.
Well, the battle over whether individual states can take matters into their own hands when it comes to border security.
We don't know who these people are. They could be our enemy.
60-day limit for migrants with children back in October, so technically that would have expired in December, but...
And I want to talk about another top issue, the border. Now, I love how eyes turn on in Biden.
We are here today because the President of the United States is failing to fulfill his duty to defend our country.
As schools are repurposed to house migrants and shelters reach capacity, residents voice frustration over the impact on education, housing, and quality of life. Amidst these challenges, calls for comprehensive immigration reform and increased federal support grow louder. Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal for additional funding to address the migrant crisis reflects the urgent need for financial assistance to alleviate the burden on state and local budgets. However, without meaningful policy changes at the federal level, the underlying issues fueling the crisis remains unsolved. In navigating deportation challenges and concerns, a balanced approach that prioritizes public safety while upholding humanitarian principles is essential. Collaboration between federal, state, and local authorities is critical to developing effective strategies that address both enforcement and support for migrant communities. By working together, stakeholders can foster safer, more inclusive communities while respecting the rights and dignity of all individuals involved. Controversial policies amidst crime. Controversial policies amidst rising crime rates have sparked heated debates and divided opinions in New York City, as officials grapple with the complex challenges of addressing both public safety concerns and the needs of migrant communities. At the center of the controversy are measures aimed at managing the influx of migrants and mitigating the strain on city resources. Eviction notices issued to migrant families after just 60 days in shelters have drawn sharp criticism from advocates, who argue that such policies exacerbate instability and insecurity for vulnerable populations. Repurposing schools to house migrants, disrupting education for local students, has further fueled outrage among parents and community members. Critics of these policies argue that they prioritize the needs of migrants over the well-being of local residents and exacerbate existing tensions in communities already grappling with crime and socio-economic challenges. The decision to accommodate migrants at the expense of local services and infrastructure has raised concerns about fairness, accountability, and the allocation of public resources. However, legal barriers and sanctuary policies complicate efforts to hold perpetrators accountable and prevent future incidents. The lack of data tracking crime committed by undocumented immigrants further complicates the assessment of public safety risks and the development of targeted enforcement strategies. Without accurate information, law enforcement agencies struggle to identify patterns of criminal behavior among migrant populations and effectively allocate resources to address them.
A toll on our local resources, specifically our police force and our fire department.
Today to address the ongoing crisis at our border. When President Biden took office in January 2021,
because they don't have access to these resources, they wait until the very end to hopefully receive some care, and by then it's too late.
The Biden administration refuses to exercise its power to deny entry.
There has been ongoing tension, if not outright combat, between state and city officials across the country.
As tensions escalate and divisions deepen, Finding common ground and solutions that balance the needs of all stakeholders becomes increasingly challenging. Calls for comprehensive immigration reform and increased federal support underscore the need for a coordinated and multifaceted approach to addressing the underlying issues driving the crisis. In navigating these controversies, it is essential to prioritize dialogue, collaboration, and evidence-based decision-making. By engaging with communities, listening to diverse perspectives, and working together to find equitable solutions, officials can navigate the complexities of the migrant crisis while upholding the values of fairness, compassion, and justice for all residents of New York City. Final strain in response. The final strain resulting from the response to the migrant crisis in New York City has become increasingly apparent as the city grapples with mounting costs and strained resources. Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal for additional funding highlights the significant burden on state and city budgets, with estimates suggesting costs could reach billions of dollars. The urgency of finding sustainable solutions has never been greater. The need for additional funding underscores the unprecedented challenges posed by the migrant influx and the strain it places on public services and infrastructure. The decision to repurpose schools and shelters to accommodate migrants further exacerbates the financial strain, as resources are diverted from other essential services. The eviction of migrant families after just 60 days in shelters adds another layer of complexity, as the city struggles to balance humanitarian concerns with fiscal responsibility. By working together with state and federal partners, stakeholders can develop strategies that promote fiscal sustainability while upholding the values of compassion, fairness, and dignity for all residents. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.